Uganda. And Up Energy is a carbon project developer. We have been in Uganda for over 10, 12 years by now. The first 9 to 10 years, we actually focus on one flagship product of our charcoal, efficient charcoal cook stove, but we also jumped on the ship 2 years ago. We have been distributing EPC, the electric pressure cooker, for over a year now. So happy to be here and look forward to discussing more.
Thank you. Next. Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Mwasnua. I'm the Managing Director of One Energy Solution, company which markets liquefied petroleum gas here in Uganda for the last 15 years. We have a long journey which we have come. We started selling gas in cylinders, then we have started selling it in Ojiko, 2,500. So that's where we are, and we are probably the next probably 5 years. We shall see how best we can do it, but nice being here with you guys. That's a nice one, thank you. Next.
Peter Mwesiga, Musinguzi. I work with UNACC as a project manager, and I'm leading a team that is looking at the pilot project to promote cooking with electricity in Uganda, and a bit of work has already been done to talk about it, and we're happy to be among the partners on this very wonderful course. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
My name is Acacia from the private sector, the CEO of Cell Engineering Services Limited, which is in the scope of manufacturing, engineering, and education, inclusive consultancy. I'm also the president of World Society in Uganda and the board member to the African Welding Federation that sits in South Africa. Also director of the Institute of Welding and Technology. I'm a practitioner in green cooking energy, where our company does more work into renewable energy, solar, biogasification system, and production of green cooking stoves as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Caroline Amono, and I'm the Director of Corporate Affairs for Burn Manufacturing. Burn Manufacturing is the biggest producer of improved food stoves in the world. We have a manufacturing plant in Nairobi, and we're producing both electric and biomass products. With our biomass, we have our signature product, Cocoa, which now we are transitioning to what we're calling e-coa. We also are producing an induction cooker, which that is an electric cooker. We have our pressure cooker as well, and we also recently introduced an LPG product. Please save $40 on Cocoa alone, enabling the end user to buy it at $3 or $4. So those kind of subsidies are very critical. However, the regulatory environment around carbon trading in Uganda is still under development. So there is need to fast track that to enable end users to actually take advantage of our products. Other things include zero rating, for example, of VAT. There's that 18% that VAT that's charged on our cook stoves. That needs to be zero rated so that, again, that price, especially on electric products, can be driven down. The other issue area is where it comes to practical action around connectivity to the grid. Uganda is one of the biggest producers of electric power in East Africa. However, you find that 60% of power produced is not being utilized locally. It is possible to enable that 60% to be used for cooking so that more people can actually rely on clean energy for cooking. But the challenge there again is that we need the reliable power. We cannot have blackouts. That means we'll always go back to biomass if you're having constant blackouts. So those are just some of the lessons we have learned, and because of time, I'll not go into...
Yeah, and as you're talking, I come from the oil and gas. One of the challenges also I find is the lots of terminology, and hopefully how people understand that, but we need to break that. But you raise very critical issues, looking at, I think, the challenges, structural challenges in the value chain of this clean cooking technology. Yes, there are issues of source of energy, distribution and the like, but my friend from Umeme, now that we are at the heart of it, given your experience with the access to power and especially electricity in Uganda, what do you think needs to be done to break that conundrum of issues, if I may say? Otherwise, we might be just writing on water, we know everything, this and that, but there is an issue, the source of the clean energy.
I did say, share about what UNACC is doing. So UNACC is implementing a pilot to support the adoption of cooking with electricity, focusing on electric pressure cookers. And the pilot is being supported by quite a number of partners. I won't go into what EPCs do, that has been adequately covered by the sessions that came first. We have, the pilot is being supported by MECs who are in the room, and it involves a monitoring and research aspect to look at the behavioral journeys that customers will go through, as well as the impact of cooking with electricity, for example, on the grid, and that is being led by Access to Energy Institute. And we also have the ministry as well as QUIC that are supporting the pilot. The idea is to use the structures for the utility to bring awareness to homesteads. Why is UNACC structured? We are in a position to do that. We support about 1.8 million customers who definitely use electricity. So if we are talking about cooking with electricity, those will be customers for the grid. And you definitely then have their contacts and details and relationship. But work has already been done. A lot of work has already been done by a number of the players on this panel, as well as others, such as QUIC, the ministry. And it's the right time for us to support. Now, looking at what needs to be done, it's important to go back to where we're coming from. We came from a time when access to electricity, when generation capacity was not adequate. And at the time when we had what we call the repairs, the communication, the information was different. Initially, the focus was on saving what we had so that it would be adequate for all of us. But like she has mentioned, we now have more than enough. And it's time to expand and look at the productive usage of electricity, look at cooking with electricity because we have enough. That aspect has been looking at the appliances that have been around. When we look at cooking with electricity, quite a number of people in this room probably use electricity for cooking in some way. But is it affordable? Has it been affordable for them? What ratio do they use electricity for cooking? What appliances are they using? And because we've been using inefficient methods to cook, such as hot plates, cooking in the open air, it has not been affordable. The air pressure cooker brings us distinct advantages, where most of the energy it consumes is actually used for cooking, and that makes it affordable. We've been conducting cooking demonstrations with the staff, and we've already seen that cooking with an air pressure cooker provides you with over 60% of savings in comparison to other methods. Even at the current tariff, when you're using an air pressure cooker, the process becomes cheap because you've seen that most of the meals will be cooked under 500 shillings, Uganda shillings, which makes it very, very cheap. If you compare that with the charcoal, for example, the advantages of cooking with electricity are enormous.
Yeah. Thank you. I think somebody has told that to me before, and I said there's need to do the mathematics very well for understanding. But also the issue in the previous discussion we had, some people are wondering whether those pressure cookers are going to burst. I don't know whether they make some noise. Yes, they do, but it's a lot of work to do. But thank you so much. I go to Ms. Cho. What do you think should be done differently to enable the uptake of clean cooking in a country like Uganda? And also learning from where you come from as well.
Thank you. So if I'm to talk about clean cooking, I would start with charcoal stove, but I know that this room we're talking about e-cooking, so let me focus on the EPC as well, the electric pressure cooker. So there are a few things, about 3 points that I would touch on regarding what we've learned as energy as a private sector player. We have been distributing, the first EPC that we distributed in a pilot stage was 2 years ago, and then this year pretty much the entire 2023 is a scale up, a commercialized product, even though still at a pretty small scale. So the first point, my colleague Carol over there, our fellow carbon project developer, has really touched on a lot. You know, if people don't fully understand carbon finance, that has to be another section on its own. But for those who know, carbon finance really subsidizes the cost for company and for users as well. Whereas right now in Uganda, the carbon regulations and taxations are not yet clear. So a lot of project developers like us are really waiting to see what happens, and I think other private investors are also waiting, kind of holding back because they're not sure how the taxation would affect profitability. So in a simple word, not just taxation, but I think what the other panelist was talking about, the word collaboration is really correct, because private sector can't do it alone. There is government support, there is different platforms and associations. So I would really just, I wouldn't go into detail, but I do want to second what Kara has already talked about. And then of course, Umeme, I know we're looking at our friend here, and our users as well, our own customers would complain if there is a blackout, which is out of our control. So again, wouldn't go into detail, but we understand that there needs to be an ecosystem to also support the private sector. Secondly, I'll just touch briefly on product quality as something that we learn as being important, not surprisingly, and many people in this room have already talked about different quality, different standards. Is it going to burst? Which, as a matter of fact, I know it can. I'm not talking about my company's product, but I know an EPC can burst if there's been not enough testing and regulations. So I think private sector like ours, if we're confident about our product, we should actually very much welcome regulation, welcome standards, like the other lady said, welcome gatekeeping, to have standards in this country to regulate the product and ensure safety and quality. And then the last thing to share is from our own experience of selling this for a year and our pilot as well. We also very much pay attention to whether the customer at the end is actually using the product, because if you want to switch to clean cooking, but they buy it, if someone is more, let's say, more middle upper class, they could buy this new fancy technology, actually put it aside and not use it, and when you visit them or call them for customer follow-up, it's just sitting there and they're going back to their charcoal or other biomass. And we truly want to switch the population into cleaner cooking technology. And we also noticed marketing 101, if anyone did marketing, that the purchaser, the customer, is not always the same person as the consumer. I think in one of the morning sections, I heard a lady saying, well, I'll buy it, but I'll put it at home, and my maid is not allowed to touch it because they're worried about someone else messing up an electronic product. So on that, we, Up Energy, discovered that training and the customer support is really important to make sure that our client understand how to use the EPC and trust that it is safe. So there's a lot, I think everyone understands, everyone asks, oh, what really is an EPC? So I'll just trick on that. Actually, that awareness and marketing is really important.
Yeah, thank you. I'll tell you something about some of the challenges you find with the use of some of these appliances, even the products that are purchased to wire the houses. You find that there is an issue sometimes, but that is the debate for another day. We really need to get deeper and appreciate what it means to deal with a whole lot of things that look at promoting a particular technology. When you pick somebody by pocket, can maybe some sparks come around, they say this is going to burn my house, but just thinking aloud. Now, my friend, Mr. Weissler, yes? Wasila, sorry. The profile you gave us provides a wider kind of profile. And even you said you've reached a point of reducing quantities of what? Gas. You call it what? Kajiko. Yeah, a spoon. Kajiko is a small spoon that they want to make it as basic as possible and affordable. But how have you managed to penetrate markets amidst financial and cultural myths about clean cooking technologies? Because it's so much. When she mentioned that somebody buys the dollar and they park it in the corner, maybe they have got some, maybe the judge has said, this thing is not going to work for us. You know, judges, you get to know later what judges are. Thank you. You can share with us. Okay. Thank you so much, moderator. We have come from very far. In 2008, I think we had about 98% of the population was using traditional fuels, mainly for cooking. So we entered in a market which was still a little bit skeptical about gas because we had just come out of UEV. I think some people here don't know UEV, but it is umeme right now. That was at the time when every day when you move outside you hear someone has been electrocuted. Of course right now, very many people are electrocuted. Why? Because the system has been taken over by private sector, which is doing very, very well. Similarly, when we came in, there were three things which were making people not use gas, cooking gas. One of them was that it was very dangerous. And indeed, it is as good as electricity, charcoal, and firewood. All those things are very dangerous if you can't regulate them. Two, very expensive. Indeed, electricity at the time of umeme, it was very expensive, and charcoal right now is very expensive, more expensive than gas. And even firewood, actually, where I come. The length of 3 logs of firewood costs about 2,000 shillings. Okay? And the third one, I don't know the fourth or the third one, is the taste. Now, I've used gas for the last 20 years. Look the way I look like. Is that aroma? People think about the aroma. Look, it can't be look so nice. You have to sing out show. Yeah, but I had someone talking about this kind of conversation which we have in the kitchen between the husband and the woman. The woman wants gas. The man wants the aroma. Okay? Yeah. Some smoke, that smoke which comes from firewood and the charcoal. So there is that confusion which is in the kitchen. However, what we have done a lot of things which have helped us to be where we are. That the very first thing is that we had what we call troubleshooters. The troubleshooters are our delivery team. Wherever you are, when you buy our product, just be rest assured that it will be delivered. Now people don't know why we deliver. They thought that probably we just want to deliver. No. But just to make sure that we give the customer in the kitchen some kind of assurance that it is not you who has installed it, it is us. If anything goes wrong, we are accountable. Okay? I just give you a story. I think 2 or 3 months ago, engineer, not just a teacher or a local person, ordered for the product. Now, when the person, our troubleshooter, delivered the gas, reached at home, immediately the person said, don't install, we shall install it ourselves. The troubleshooter called us and said, sorry, they have told me not to install, I have to come back. We called and talked to the person said, sorry, the person has to come back because we have not organized our kitchen. Now, 2 weeks down the road, they start cooking. The next time they called us, the kitchen was on fire. Okay? They blamed us because we had sold a product which was not good to them. But I come back and say, listen, engineer, gas needs 3 things. Needs air, source of fire, and the gas itself. So what happened? So when the troubleshooters got there, they found when there was a saucepan which was still warm. When we asked that, what are we cooking on this? They said, no. We cooked something sometime back. What I'm trying to say is that one of the issues which we are trying to address is that one of people fearing the energy which we are doing right now. Gas is being feared, but of course what we have done is that we have innovated. We have realized what we have done is, my colleague from BAG spoke about participating. We have engaged ourselves in what we call participatory research. I don't know how many people here have done participatory research, but in order to improve the adoption of clean cooking solutions, there's a need for us to involve the uptakers, the customers. Okay? So let's first of all speak to them. Let's speak to the customers. Let them understand. This is a behavior change thing whereby I think all of you participants who are here will agree with me that when we come with the product, we just come and feel like we have to give it because people need it. And that's how I felt at the time when I came with gas. I said, Ugandans need cooking gas. No feasibility study, just came and threw it there. The first year we got 45 clients and we thought that we had been bewitched. No, there was no witchcraft. We realized that we had not spoken to our customers. When we spoke to our customers, we realized where their pain points were. One was the upfront cost. Now, we thank the government, I think we have here government, tax on gas itself. But they are just like witch doctors, by the way. They give you with one hand and they take away the other. Okay? So they removed the taxes on gas itself, then they hammer the gas on cylinders. Yeah. Yes. So they put taxes back on cylinders and they made the whole product so expensive still. However, what has helped us to continue being in the market is innovation. That we have innovated ourselves to make sure that we continue being a little bit relevant in the market. Initially, our customers, we found out that gas was very expensive, mainly the upfront cost. Then they started shifting back to charcoal. But we said, this is what we can do. I was reading somewhere on a website in the UK, whereby people were being given free phones. You just go, you say, I want a phone. They give you and say you pay at the end of the month. Okay? So I was like, but why can't we try it in this market? It was so fluid, but again we said, no, let's try it. We came and gave, we went to schools, we gave teachers. We said, you just use, go and test it, because we realized that gas is an aspiration product. Everyone aspires to use gas, cooking gas. But the problem is upfront cost. So we gave them cylinders, they started using. Now in the first year we had 45 clients, in the second year we had 1,250 because of the innovation. Then in 2019 we realized that people were coming back to say we want to do a refill. Oh, we want to refill. They refilled, but again they didn't have money to refill the whole cylinder, which was costing about 98,000. Then, but we couldn't give them 1 kilogram or 2 kilogram in the cylinder because we didn't have the system. So we had to innovate, we brought the meter. So the meter is able to give you about 500 shillings. You put 500 shillings and you cook anything. You are able to cook an omelette, tea, and for that 500 shillings. And it works. People who are with the gas cylinders here, of course, we have some customers here of ours who use that meter and they enjoy it. 3, we realize that people can't obviously be able to use the meter because of course of the upfront cost. But now what we have done is that we have now come up with the solar. So we give you solar for lighting, but we monitor your gas. So we enable you to put on something like 1,500, which is able to cook for you 3 meals. Now, just to conclude, I think the most thing here which has enabled us to continue doing what we are supposed to do, and to make gas as cheap as anybody can think about, is that innovation. Innovation, innovation, innovation. You can mention it 10 times. That innovation does not need you to go to school to innovate. You just need to do a pitch. Teach a little bit and things will work.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you. I'm really humbled. I'm allowing this discussion to go on. He said interesting things about the beginning with one hand and taking with the other. But government still went ahead and innovated and decided to bring gas cylinders through Speke. I met some people like, but even they are yellow. Anyway, we're not discussing that. but at least something is being done. My brother Ronald, sorry, I got you last because you are the most expert span person here. Your profile is really speaking for that. How should this be taken forward to ensure that the implementation hits the set targets? Other than us having so many pilots, so many this, and then we still go back to the same story of not having the uptake. We really need to find something to move from one point to another, and we achieve the sustainable development goals targets of clean and sustainable development. Thank you.
Thank you, moderator, and that's my colleagues for your submissions. But before that, there is something that I'm a practitioner and I'm a businessman. And there are things that we need to clear to people who are into the energy production. There is something I want to look at, manufacturing and industrialization of Africa. By 2030, it will have an uptake of about $666.8 billion. What does it mean? It means everything, inclusive energy. So how are we taking it from small business manufacturers to middle to higher? There are a lot of things that have been talked about. Research and development, innovation is incentives, education of the stakeholders, the end users. So many have been laid on the table. But it is now to be more practical than the theory part of it. So the policymakers, the stakeholders, and the funders in energy have done their work. But the people who are uptaking that work, where are they? There are things that are obstacles. I'm speaking on behalf of the manufacturers. You know that there is this African Common Market Zone. I know all of you know it. What does it mean to Africa? If I talk Africa, inclusive Uganda. So don't say that I'm talking to the other countries. Because there is a very big opportunity into the energy sector. The market is too big. Even if you are given a Kampala to supply your energy solutions, you can't afford to do it. But there is what we call trust of product. We shall have the electric cookers, we shall have the gas, we shall have everything. But the degree of innovation in whatever product that is coming on the market, how is it on standard? We can't drive away using charcoal. You can't drive away using wood. Even in that, you can even create gas from wood. Okay, you can have gas from LPG. You can do electrical. But how are we creating the opportunities for every player to come into the business at the right standard? Now, when it comes back to the businesses, people operating businesses into the energy, I myself did research back in 2010, about 3 years in energy. I'm an electrical engineer by background. But I decided to go into the deviation of renewable energy, researching about biogasification systems. Solar is new to us and still are expensive. Using charcoal and other biomass materials, it's still open to Africa, including Uganda. But how are we bringing them to a real use? As practitioners, there are standards that we need to follow. I came to business in 2015. I started producing stoves after research. I did a business test for 3 years. But my goal was to do a high inclusiveness of exporting to all of Africa. I had to go back into productivity design of the product, looking at standard operations. I have read all the standards that are really published by organizations getting to get the advantages of what is there, like the ISO TC 285 that is coming. You can check on the website. It has a lot of advantages for practitioners. into the energy. So the businesses need to get to understand the niches of where they want to go. The reason of failures of why Ugandan energy businesses are not into the market is they have not specified exactly the targets that they want to serve. Because that's very, very important. So the standards are there. I'm not going to lament so many things, but how do we put them into use for the benefit of the end users for the product that we're producing? The standards are there, but they don't require about million companies. Even if you are in your bedroom and you are doing a product that is good, you can do all these things under standards. The ISO 09, the 45, the 1400, the ISO for clean cooking stoves. All these are simple to uptake. But the issue is business practitioners, what is their next goal and destination in the product that they are serving? You can talk about innovations, you need standards. Today, SEB engineering is ISO certified, all the three. Perspective in production of clean cooking solutions, to have a trust, even if I go on an African market. I'm not looking at Ugandan market level best, no. I'm opening the business to all of African countries. But what product am I selling? If I make a cook stoves, or I make something that is a good solution to the cleaning sector, how is it trusted? Am I able to trace back? Let me ask a question. My colleague has said that technical support extension is very, very much important in what you're doing. Even if I'm doing a pen and it fails to write tomorrow, can I trace back? Do I have that technical support to support the business? So the funders and the investors, whether the government will trust a business that works on standards. You are able to be there, you are able to back up all your errors. I'm building a project in oil and gas. But let me tell you what is needed there. Looks to be hard, but it is simple. If you are not getting ready in business to work with the standards, we shall find ourselves importing a lot of goods in the energy sector. Electric cookers will come, but the producers locally here need to set up themselves. You don't need to, you know, I was the other side and someone talked about research and involvement. We have no organization specifically for that. The universities we have are more theoretical than researching for solutions that really are needed into the energy sector to be done by the private sector. The prototyping testing, there is testing centers. Where can I walk directly and it is affordable to test a stove as easily to be given an ISO certification for the stove that I'm producing. So the manufacturing process, the lean production, traceability of the products, the type of materials that we use to manufacture, all these have a trust to the end user of the product and you yourself. So all these standards have benefits to all of us, the government, the investors to put money into the business, the end user of the product that you're giving. So there must be a lot of knowledge sharing. I love knowledge sharing. I'm not a selfish person in my life. Because if I share with you, it's you either to take it or not. But when you do the real practice into the real line of the business, through a real good strategic plan of your business production of energy cooking solutions, whether electrical, whether gas, whatever, anything, it must follow the standards. So I already urge you, as a business practitioner, that all business people into the energy is the driver of all economies, whether you like it or not. But what solution are you bringing that is beneficial, affordable, equitable to every end user? Thank you.
Thank you so much. And you bear with me, as far as I can imagine, you realize how powerful this panel is. We're learning a lot of things. One important thing I appreciate is the level of knowledge and appreciation of the practical bits is very impressive. And we have reached a point of running away. Actually, for convincing ourselves we should run away from lamentations to for implementation of revelations. That's normally what they say. Now, here we are. Building on what our panelists have shared, I would like us to move quickly and get some views from the audience, and to keep it simple and sweet. Please specifically address it to a panelist, and I want all of them to get one, so that in their parting shot they answer the question and do the parting shot. So, 5, 1.
Challenges, because she spends 4 hours a day using that GCO. It is still the same woman who will benefit from the electric cooker or clean cooking technologies that we're discussing today, and then have extra time to improve her education, herself, and her children. So I think the woman stands at a very special point in this discussion, and moving forward, as we continue to develop all the areas that we are talking about, clean cooking, I would love to hear more about how we can utilize that role of the woman in this whole discussion to be able to move it forward.
Thank you. I can imagine. I was just looking at you and wondering whether you are a student of the late Wangari Maathai, but that would have philosophy.
I actually kind of was. I went to UMass Boston, and we interacted with her while I was there around environment. So
you see how I know? Thank you.
Thank you. As for me, what I'm calling for is a business-to-business sharing of knowledge. The UNACC organization, where I'm a member, the Ministry of Energy, the Petroleum Authority, person, you are talking about energy and oil, is that high collaboration. The Welding Society, which I head as a president, is having objectives of driving the manufacturing industry using the context of raw materials across Africa. We are doing that with the Nigerians, the whole South Africans, and we are sharing a lot of knowledge that we want to transfer. So I call upon, there is no competition in business that you are talking about. Stove producer, they are producers of stove, you have gas and so on. There is no this need of competition, of not letting others to know. You only need to understand what you are going to serve. Even if you are given the whole 47, the 160, what will be the population of Africa? Let's say the East Africa, which is about 167 million people. For it, you cannot even serve 1% of that. So it's only finding a product that is good enough for a particular sector, and you can serve it the best, and you can trace it back. So let's share knowledge, let's have transfer of information. Researches have been done. There is no need of going back to the papers, but the only thing is pick a paper. If it is about production of a certain product, look at it. Let's there be incentives and so on. Let's all be prayers into the energy. Because whatever you're talking about, you have children at home. And that generation is coming. What is it going to find on the table in the future?
Thank you so much. Leveraging and being efficient. That's a very big, serious point. Next.
Thank you. From this discussion, it's very evident that the time is now, the time is right for us to work together. The power of synergies. Where we find ourselves, while we've looked at biomass, while we started with biomass, we've moved from about 54% of Uganda being covered by forests to under 90% right now. The trees are disappearing. We've done our job at making them disappear. The environment is crying out for us. The time to synergize is now. We've talked about the e-cooking tariff. On this table where I'm seated, we have two manufacturers of electric pressure cookers. If, for example, all these pressure cookers had energy meters in them, that is very, very important in putting together policies, in creating a tariff that works for everyone, and the information that is then generated benefits the manufacturer, but also benefits the utility, it benefits the government, we're talking about financials. So if each one of us are able to do our job and collaborate and share the synergies, the destination will be good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah. Next.
Yeah, thank you so much. My parting shots, a little bit limited. One is that there is a need for us to engage in participatory research. Earlier on, while I was sitting here, I had people saying that we have done research, there is information here, there is information there. There is limited information. That's why you see in the last 10 years, I can now count that I now have 1, 2, 3 people. We started UNACC in 2012 with about 60 people, and right now I can tell you that probably we have around 4 people whom we have moved together for the last 15 years. Okay? Why? Just because when we came, we found that there was a lot of money in the market in distributing clean bookstores. People came, put their product on the market, and after 2-3 years, they disappeared. We have money. There is money. I think we have investors in this room. Mr. Wanal, we have investors, people who want to invest in clean cooking. But the problem is that when we come and we want to invest in these businesses, we just come, we don't even feasibility studies, just like as I say. For me, when I started business, I didn't do a feasibility study. And the first 3, 4, 5 years, they were a little bit difficult because I didn't know what my customers needed, who wanted. And when I came with gas, I thought that they would just use it like anything else. No, that's not how it works. And for us, in order to improve our market, improve the money for the funders and pay it back, we need to engage in participatory research. Let us talk to the users. What do they need? Not what we want to offer. And if we give them what we want to offer, they will not take it because they don't know what they want to take. So let us, one, engage in participatory research. Synergies, as other panelists have said. One thing which I've seen is that Ministry of Health is doing its own work. It's just, I don't know how much it's talking about clean cooking, but yes, they need to be involved. Probably the research must come from the Department of Health or Public Health in the material. Do a lot of research, come and tell us what have they found outside there. How can they work with the Ministry of Energy? How can they work with the Ministry of Housing? Okay? That collaboration, there is a need for us to keep on talking of collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. Research first, let us collaborate, let us have synergies. If we want to improve, of course right now as we speak, either it was moderator or one of the panelists say that we have around 20% of Ugandans using clean cooking solutions. The same kind of message we have been passing on since 2010. I think according to UBOS, we had around 88% of the population using clean cooking solutions. Not 88, 22%. Is it 22%? Is it 18%? We don't know. This research is there, but it is a research of 1995. That's why I'm keeping on moving from one figure to the other. Okay? But we need to get involved in research. Probably, I don't know whether UBOS, or I don't know whether it is material, whether who, I don't know. But there's a need for us to have recent research which can inform us what can we do better rather than relying to the past. There's a need for us to, there's what we call adapters. Okay? The Ministry of Energy has been talking about energy mix. We shouldn't talk about LPG, we shouldn't talk about probably EPCs, we shouldn't talk about clean bookstores. But what is the best? What can we come up with? So that in the next, probably from today to 2030, can we have 50% of Ugandans, or let's say 60%, using clean cooking solutions? The answer is with us. All of us, not only panelists here, but all of us who are sitting here. Let us think about it and see how best we can improve the lives of our communities back home.
Thank you so very much. Last but not least.
Thank you. So on a personal level, I have an EPC at home as well, and I really like it. And knowing that Ugandan cuisine compared to my Asian cuisine is even more compatible with the pressure cooker method, I really, as an individual, encourage everyone to try. And on a more macro and community level, I agree with everything that our panelists have said, that the market is huge. If only 1% of users line up right now, I don't think any one of us private player could even have the ability to satisfy that market demand. So while being the last of this group to speak, not except the moderator, risking trying to wrap up for him, that I really agree a lot of collaboration between private sector and the government and other funders, other investments, but also among private sector players as well. Demand is so huge. Right now is not the time for competition. I think the only competitor we have is our own self to try to improve on our product. So trying to keep it more simple, but I really encourage everyone to try to understand more what eco-king is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's give another round of applause. I'd like to appreciate all of you for the patience and active participation, but also to thank the chairperson of, Vice Chair. He mentioned something very important. We need to have great focus on things that are going to move us from one point to another. And he found it in this panel. So I think the panelists and their moderator have really performed fantastically well, and we wish you a nice lunch. We need to have a photo.
Before I can give it out, look at it. We are including cooking, but one would ask, are you going to put a stove in this bag? No! But if you hold it on the web with at some merchandise bought in it, but stocked in level with the UNACC presence or maybe whatever, it can be so sweet for you. So this one goes to the moderator first of all. Mr. Moderator, thank you. And the name, you'll excuse me, the names are forgotten, but I know the face. Thank you so much, madam.
Thank you.